if you're going to speak about something, you need to know a lot about it. You need to know three or four times as much as you're going to speak about at minimum. So first of all, you have to do your background research. You have to have multiple stories at hand that you can use to illustrate your point. And you have to have a point. You have to organize what you're talking about around a problem. So before I go on stage to speak on my tour, I always sit for half an hour, some of which involves usually about 5 minutes of anxiety. And I think, okay, there's a problem I'm trying to address tonight, a central problem or a theme. What is it? It might be courage, it might be responsibility, it might be meaning. I think, and that serves as an organizing principle. So that would be the point. And then basically I organize, say, a dozen stories around that. And I can kind of arrange them in it as a journey. And it's a journey that circles the main point. And so I'm trying to explore it, to say what I think about courage, let's say, but to take what I'm thinking farther than I've taken it already. And so that I can plot out, little 5-minute stories that I have that are associated with courage. And then I can talk to the audience. And I would say, talk about what you know. Use your personal experience, because that's something that you're actually a master of. You can bring in other material, but it has to be tied to the real world through your own experience. Otherwise, it's not real. And the other thing I would say is you're telling stories. So every fact that you relate or every set of facts has to be tied to a story. There has to be a meaningful output, which is something like, why is it important to your life that you know this fact? How is it related to how you're going to conduct yourself moving forward or how you're going to see the world? So because that's kind of the essence of meaning. How does this fact change the way you perceive the world or act in the world? That's the meaning of the fact. And facts without meaning are dull. So you need to know that. You need to tell the truth, that's for sure. For me, my talks are they're an attempt to explore a set of ideas in the most truthful way that I can manage. And that's also an adventure, because letting yourself speak freely about a topic, you don't always know where it's going to go. And so, but that also hooks in the audience because they're along for the ride, right? The talk should be a process of exploration, like a journey that you're taking the audience along on. Doesn't hurt to read, really doesn't hurt to write. A little bit of writing every day clarifies your thinking. It's a hard thing to do, and it's an unlikely thing. Most people won't do it, but you read, you think, you write. The reason you write is because writing forces you to articulate your thoughts. It organizes your brain around whatever it is that you're writing about. And one of the easiest ways to write, there isn't any real easy way, but one of the easiest ways to write is to write down a problem. It's like, well, what problem is bothering me? Well, you can write about that, first of all, to get the problem clear, because that's a hard thing. Then you start to write about what might possible solutions be. And you fight with those solutions because, you want to kill off the stupid ones. And then, maybe you need to learn to speak more fluently. Maybe you could try a class in improvisation, and maybe that's too daunting. You could join a speakers club like Toastmasters. You could try talking more at dinner parties a little bit more once you formulate your thoughts. You have to be willing to be somewhat of a bumbling fool to begin with, right? Because you're going to not, and maybe your verbal skills are better than you think they are, and you're just self-conscious. But you have to practice putting yourself forward a little bit. And tentatively, you can do a lot of that, a lot of that initial learning how to interact with people, though, by asking them questions about what they think and then responding instead of being too concerned about putting your own point forward. And even introverted and anxious people can learn to do that. Those are learnable skills. It's not easy, but you can manage it. You can also speak carefully, and listen to what you're saying and only try to say things that you think are true. That's also unbelievably useful. You have to feel that out. Like, is this really what I believe, or am I putting it forward because I want to look good, or I want to dominate, or I want to express obliquely an emotion that I'm too cowardly to come out and confront directly, or am I being manipulative? There's lots of reasons that people use language, but what you really should use it for is to state what you believe to be true.
And no disrespect, but this is why I need you to get your motives have to be pure. This is why. Because what happens is for each motive, it's a different level of energy. And some of you have like big dreams, but your energy is like a AAA battery. Your battery got to be able to push that dream. If you got a big old dream, but you got a small engine, you're not going to be able to push it.
If dreams were easy, everybody would make them happen. The problem is that I watch most people, they can't get up in the morning. They ain't got no energy. I'm walking through the airport running almost. Most people that I'm with, they don't got the energy to keep up with me. I'm like, boo, ain't nothing wrong with you. You just ain't got the stamina. You just ain't got the energy. You can't smart everything. You can't outthink everything. Some stuff is just, you gotta be powerful. It's just some stuff that you gotta have stamina for. You just too slow. It just take you too long. You wake up, take you 3 weeks to do what it could take 24 hours to do. It don't make you a bad person, but you're going to forever be average because to be great, you got to keep up. Today might not be the day, but soon it will be my day and I will recycle my pain. So what do you mean, E.T.? You recycle the pain. I turn homelessness into a book. I turn my father not being in my life to a book. I turn an estranged relationship with my mom into a book. I turn being homeless into a book. I turn being a high school dropout into a bestseller. And not only do they sell it in America, they sell it across the world. What will you do with your pain? Will you let it break you or will you let it redefine you? My son, my daughter, they drive me. What drives you? And this is why I'm telling you, because if a house drive you, you sweet, you gonna get one. Then what you gonna do when you finish? It's what she said. She blew this business up and now she don't want to do it no more. You know how hard it is to blow a business up? You know how many people wish they could do what she doing? But yet she finished with it. Why? Because that thing was not strong enough to drive her. The Nobel Prize, that'd take me forever. I picked something that would drive me for the rest of my life. You doing it because somebody else told you to do it. You want to drive a Rolls Royce because everybody else drive it. You want to live in that house because everybody else living in that house. You got affirmation problems. You're not doing it because you really want to do it. You're doing it because you want to be affirmed. Let me tell you something. That's a great place to start. But when you get to your root, it's a whole nother level. Take all your energy for the dream because you're going to need it. And so if the second thing I can teach you is for every dream you have, take at least a week or 30 days and write down every single thing that it's going to take to make it happen. And I want you to know something. After you write everything down, you still have not written everything down because you don't know what's going to happen. And so life normally breaks you because when it hits you, you wasn't ready. But if you ready, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. If you stay ready and you stay plugged up, when you hear bad news, it don't break you because you already energized.
On top of everything, I was also painfully shy. I was introverted, but I was also shy and very reserved. And I would always sit in the corner. And I never talk about this publicly, but I ask everybody, what their superpower is. And I feel like that my superpower growing up as an insecure kid who felt like he was broken and taught that by adults, that my superpower was being invisible. Like I didn't want to be seen. I mean, I ultimately did want to be seen and I want to be heard, acknowledged, but I didn't want the spotlight. Like I would do, for example, my parents instilled like this work ethic about working hard. And so I would do a book report. And even though it was more difficult for me, and to the point where I'd be like, okay, I have it, I was done. But if a teacher asked me in high school to present it in front of a class, I would actually lie and say I didn't do it. And I would take a 0, and because I was so terrified of being in front of a group of people, and I would throw it out on the way out of class. As they say, what you practice in private, they say you're rewarded for in public, but you have to do the work. And I think that's where I got my work ethic. The challenge is growing up with a brain injury and labeled the boy with a broken brain. I had to work so much harder as everybody else, and you wonder why you're not getting those results. So I think having a powerful mindset, being unstoppable, or just having the ability to go and succeed, whatever success is for you, you have to be growing, but you also need a level of grit. And I think grit, just like growth, is a muscle. It's something that you need to sharpen through challenge, because through the challenge you get all the change that comes. I would say that if I'm effective having an impact on stage, and we all have a stage, that I challenged my grit, my ability to persist, because motive matters, right? And what drives us. I always tell people that there's a success formula I subscribe to, and I call it H cubed, that it goes from your head to your heart to your hands. Especially in the personal development space, or what they teach about goal setting, you can affirm things in your head, or think things in your head, or visualize things in your head. But if you're not acting with your hands, there's something that's missing, right? There's an incongruency there. And what I tell people is, like, check in with the second H, which is your heart, which is the symbol of like emotion, the energy of motion. And so I feel like that's the fuel that fuels the car, that gets you to take action for something. And I do believe what got me through it is figuring out what my why is, right? I don't want people to suffer the way I did. If I can do anything about it, for me, it's like no brain left behind, right? Because I live with that identity for so long. And my message to people, whether it's on stage or on podcast or anything, is that, we are more than what we're demonstrating, that we've been sold this lie, that people are taught through school. Like when I do these demos and I on stage memorize 108 words and numbers forwards and backwards, and it appears effortlessly. I always tell people, I don't do this to impress you. I do this to express to you what's really possible, because the truth is everyone can do this too, and so much more. Applied towards creativity and focus and flow and problem solving and thinking and really overcoming the biggest challenges of their life, and maybe even the world. The challenge is we were taught a lie. We were taught a lie that somehow our intelligence, our potential, our learning, our memory somehow is fixed. Our creativity is fixed. Our thinking is fixed, like our shoe size. And what we've discovered, as you know, more even about brain science, in the past 2 decades, we've discovered more than the previous 2,000 years. And what we know is that we're grossly underestimating its capacity, our own capacity to be able to grow, to be able to contribute, to improve our intelligence and our influence and our impact. And I want to kind of pull the veil behind and just say, hey, this is about transcending. This is about ending the trance that we're not good enough, that we're not smart enough, that we're not this genius, and telling the truth. And the truth is, we're faster and we're smarter than we think. And not just to be able to memorize things, but be able to really solve significant challenges. And maybe that these challenges that we're going through are the lessons that we need to most. And then some people who learn those lessons feel compelled to be able to share them with people. So it's not just one candle, we just set things ablaze. My platform is education. And I feel like that growing up, if anyone who's watching this feels like they're overloaded, overwhelmed, and they can't keep up, I always tell people that I don't think it's completely their fault. It's just we all grew up with a 20th century education that prepared us for a 20th century world, which at the turn of the century was working in factories and farms and assembly line. And our education system was mirrored to that. It was assembly line, one size fits all, cookie cutter approach towards education, teaching us things about what to learn. Math, history, science, Spanish, but all things we could find online nowadays, right? So what do you need to be able to regurgitate that information for? But it was about what to learn, but not how to learn. And, how to think for yourself, how to solve problems, how to be creative, all the things that you can't outsource to like automated or technology, or you can't outsource to Asia. Our value in this world is really our creativity. Right? Because that's not something that's easily outsourced. Our ability to create value, be creators, take our vision and turn them into reality, take the invisible and make it visible. But where are the classes on that, right? On how to be able to live your best version of yourself.